Just before this episode, here's how you can get more from Never a Truer Word. If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify, you can subscribe to this channel to get early access to the weekly analysis episodes, video episodes so you can see the statements as I analyse them, and exclusive content too. And if you're here on YouTube, then become a member of the channel to get early access to everything and exclusive content not available anywhere else. Hello and welcome to Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use to see if they're telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And this episode is a little bit different because I'm going to look at a statement I don't know anything about at all. I don't know the people involved, I don't know the case, I do not know the story. So there's an element of risk in this one, certainly for me. If you are a regular on the channel, then you'll know you can learn a lot from looking at a statement. I've got a statement here, 335 words. But let's see just how much we can get when we know nothing about it, or certainly when I know nothing about it. If you're a regular on the channel, you'll get all the things we normally do in an analysis. So we'll be looking at the truth that the person is leaking. We'll be looking at the deception that may be there as well. What's hidden, what's missing, what's going on in the mind of the person making the statement. What are their priorities? What is their purpose for making the statement? But I'm also going to try and work out, looking at the words in the statement only because I know nothing else, what happened? What were the events that led up to this statement? Why has this statement been made? And can I tell from the wording what happened to cause this statement to be made? So it's really risky for me because I could get it wrong. It feels like I am on a bit of a high wire act here without a safety net, but let's jump headfirst in and do it if that's not mixing too many metaphors. If you're new here, what you're going to learn, because I know nothing about this statement at all, is just how much you can learn from what someone says by analysing the choices, the word choices that they make. So this is going to be fascinating because, as I said, I don't know anything at all about what has happened here. Maybe you're here because you know the case, because listen, the title of this episode, the artwork, the description have all been put together after I've recorded this, when I know a little bit more about it. So maybe you know the case and you will be shouting at the screen going, oh my God, you're getting this all wrong. Or maybe you will be going, right, I think I've got this myself. I don't know anything about this, but I do feel like I've got a handle on what's happened. So let's have a look at the statement and let's say thank you to Afton, who sent me this statement. I looked at it, went, wow, there's a lot to work with there, but I don't know anything about this. And I left it at that. I went, right, I don't want to know anything else about this statement. Let's see what we can do. So what have we got to work with there? Well, listen, the very first thing I notice in that is that there are two names. So he has signed it off Ali A, but we also have Jin Kid as a name up the top, a name of the account. Not unusual that someone has a name that they use for their content and another name, but I do wonder now if we're going to be dealing with some sort of split personality here, a performer, a creator, or someone who has one personality and the real person behind that who has a different personality, and that's why we have these two names here on the message. Let's start to break it down. And the very first thing that's there, wow, the very first thing we say in a statement is obviously very important. It's how we want to set it off. And here he's telling us who he is addressing. So he's not addressing the world, he's not addressing a specific person, the victims' families, or anything like that, although he will talk to the victims' families directly, or he will try to show that he's talking to the victims' families directly later on in the statement. What he's saying here is this is to friends, this is to friendly people. So the whole point of this is about sending a message to his friends. I've said I'm going to try and tell you what happened, what were the events that led up to this. Some of these will just jump out at you. So he mentions it very near the start, so it's a high priority for him. He's leaving for prison in the morning. I want to share a few words with you all before I leave for prison in the morning. So this guy's going to prison, right? This is not some risky comment that I'm making here. This is in the words that he is going to prison in the morning. So there's my first data point as to what has happened. He's done something for which he is going to prison. Hence why he's releasing this statement, because he's not going to be able to make no statements much longer. He's leaving for prison. He says he wants to share a few words with you all. So once more, we're seeing this, that he's broadcasting here. He's talking to a lot of people here. He's thinking that he's addressing his audience, his friends, a few words with you all. So this is not a one-to-one note. This is not a note to the victims' families or anything like that. This is you all. He talks about sending this message before I leave for prison in the morning. Now, he makes it sound like his choice there. Yeah, I'm leaving for prison in the morning. Kind of like, yeah, I'm leaving for vacation tomorrow, or, I'm leaving for work early. He makes it sound like it's his choice. But obviously, no one goes to prison by choice. No one's like, yeah, right, I'd like to leave for prison in the morning. No, you were told you are leaving for prison in the morning. But so what is it here? Does he want to look like he is in control by saying, I leave for prison in the morning? Does he want to look like a good guy? Shucks, I've got to go to prison. I've got to pay my price here. I don't know, but he makes it sound like it's his choice. I think potentially that is about him wanting to sound like he is in control of all this. The note continues, regardless of how you all may feel about me, my content, or this heartbreaking tragedy, the bottom line is that I have done something terrible. Now, this is a really interesting use of regardless. The way we normally use regardless is, regardless of the bad thing, remember the good thing. So regardless of how much he drank, he still loved his kids. Or regardless of how much he shouted, he was still a good boss. Or regardless of her love of budget stores, she was a very generous person. So this regardless of how you all may feel of me, my content, or this heartbreaking tragedy, the bottom line is that I have done something terrible. It's his belief or concept that the people who like him or his content may not think that he did a bad thing. It's a very strange way of looking at it. A bit of arrogance there. You may think that my content is great. You may think that I'm great. You may even think that this heartbreaking tragedy can be excused away. But look, I really need to tell you here, I have done something terrible. So I think he has a very high opinion of how he is regarded by others. And again, this is all to these friends of his, this you all out there. So I do think there's a touch of arrogance going on with this guy. He's going to downplay what's happened quite a lot, and it happens here. This tragedy, and I've done something terrible. It's not explicit as to what has happened yet. He's softening it. He's downplaying it. He really doesn't want to get across the full force of what's happened. He just refers to it in downplaying, softening words. This tragedy, and I have done something terrible. Although he does say, I have done something terrible. Now, that's quite a straightforward line. I have done. He's taking some ownership there. Now, it's only of the something terrible. It's not it's only the word something terrible. It's not actually, he's not owning and telling us what the terrible thing is. But I have done suggests that he knows he has done something terrible. But basically, the whole point of this whole thing is, I know you think I'm great, but I've done bad things. He moves on and says, due to my irresponsible behaviour and lack of self-control, 2 innocent lives were taken and I am at fault. So he talks about here, and he starts this bit off, my irresponsible behaviour and lack of self-control. So again, we've got something quite straightforward there, and with ownership there with the word my irresponsible behaviour. So he is owning it, and he is admitting here that he has had irresponsible behaviour in the words my irresponsible behaviour. He also talks about lack of self-control, but he doesn't say my lack of self-control there. The word my is missing, unlike it is at my irresponsible behaviour. So there's just a slight lack of ownership there, but he is fessing up there and saying he has irresponsible behaviour and getting across he has a lack of self-control. So that to me is someone acknowledging some of their flaws. He says, no excuse is acceptable. Oh, wait a minute. You just said it was due to your irresponsible behaviour and lack of self-control. So all of a sudden, here's some excuses, but no excuse is acceptable. Doesn't quite hang together well for me. I think this is still someone who feels like he has excuses for what has gone on. He says, and this is another thing in the learning category for the events, I will no longer attempt to use my platform as a means of defending myself. So this guy has a platform. I saw a blue tick there on the social media post that this is taken from. So this is a guy with an audience. I think we've got that already because he talks about you all and my friends. So this is someone with a platform, and he has used this platform to defend himself. So I'm kind of not sure how this story passed me by, but it feels to me like this was a guy with an audience, did something terrible, and then tried to justify it or make excuses or defend himself on his platform. You'll notice, by the way, this is very limited in what it says. It's not, I will no longer attempt to defend myself, or I will no longer be defending my behavior. It's just, I will no longer do that on my platform. I will no longer attempt to use my platform as a means of defending myself. That doesn't say he won't defend himself elsewhere. So this is very limited. Although at first read, we might think, hey, the guy's given up here. He's not going to be defending himself anymore. No, he's just not going to be using his platform in an attempt to defend himself. And look at that word, attempt. I will no longer attempt to use my platform as a means of defending myself. Attempt means it failed. He tried, but it failed, is what attempt is giving us there. Which is interesting. Did he get some backlash? Did it not work out the way he wanted to when he came on his platform to defend himself? He says, I had my opportunity to speak during trial and have fully explained my honest intentions were on that terrible day. I had my opportunity to speak is how he says it. He doesn't say he did speak. He just says the opportunity was there. He doesn't say that he took it fully, frankly, candidly, or anything like that at all. He just says he had an opportunity to speak. So I'm wondering, again, if he did speak during trial. Actually, maybe he didn't speak during trial. Maybe he did not give evidence in trial. Maybe he did not take to the stand. He had the opportunity to do it because a defendant does, but he didn't take it. Or did he take his opportunity to speak and did he not really say enough in his view? Or did he not say the true, honest things that are in his head? Whatever, he doesn't say I spoke up for myself during the trial, only I had my opportunity to speak during the trial. More learning here into the events that happened. 2 innocent lives were taken and I am at fault. So he is admitting there in some qualified words that he is at fault for the death of 2 people. Again, we have this softening language. 2 innocent lives were taken, not I killed 2 people, and I am at fault, not I did it, just I am at fault is that slightly more distant, almost like, oops, didn't check that, I forgot to do that. It's almost like an oops, oh yeah, I'm at fault, rather than I'm to blame or I did it, I'm at fault. Another learning point here, there was a trial. We've spoken about this already, but there was a trial. So I'm starting to build up a picture of what, in his words, have happened on the lead up to this statement. He says, I had my opportunity to speak during trial and have fully explained my honest intentions were on that terrible day. Now, here we move into some persuasive language here. He didn't just say, I explained my intentions. He fully explained his intentions. There's a need for him to persuade to us that he was really cooperative. Now, when I add that together with the opportunity to speak and me thinking he didn't really speak, he wants to persuade us that he fully explained them. I don't think he did. He just wants us to get the impression that he was very honest and explained things fully. And then honest intentions, again, just tell us what your intentions were. To tell us these were honest intentions, again, is that pointing out that these weren't all honest intentions? He didn't give the full story. He attempted some management of the facts, maybe tried to get people to feel sorry for him or to see things from his point of view. I think that's what's going on there. He really wants to get across to us that he was very cooperative and very honest. And normally when people feel that need to persuade us, rather than just tell us that they did this, then these things are not true. So spotting a little bit of potential deception there. He talks about his honest intentions on that terrible day. Now that feels a little bit to me like storytelling, as if this is an author writing this and it was a terrible day, or he had to go and explain events on that terrible day. This feels a little bit like that, but also it's distancing language. Was the day terrible, or were your actions terrible? Was the day at fault? Was the day to blame? Did the day kill people? No, it didn't. You did, in your words, but you're again trying to soften things down, storytell, distance that terrible day. He says, nonetheless, and he spelt none, N-O-N, nonetheless, I was found guilty. Now, this makes me think, is this not a native English speaker? Is this someone for whom English is not their first language? That would be something I would get from this and several other points as we go through the statement. Nonetheless is not spelled correctly. So is this potentially not someone who speaks English as a first language, and also nonetheless is like a but. So it's like, here's all my excuses, here's all the things, no excuses acceptable, but, explain my honest intentions, fully explained all of them, but I was found guilty. So the excuses didn't wash, is what he's saying there. None of which I tried made me not be found guilty. Another learn there, he was found guilty. So he didn't plead guilty at this trial or anything like that. He was found guilty by a jury. So another learn about what has brought us to the point of this statement. And now I must face the music and walk this path ahead of me. So actually, face the music. What does that really mean? Again, it's not I must be punished. So again, we've just got this almost poetic storytelling softening of what happened. I must face the music. Actually, isn't a trial when you face the music, and prison's when you must take your punishment. That's how I would expect to see them described. But now he is facing the music, and I think he wants to say, what a great guy I am. I realize I must face the music. And again, this phrase, walk this path ahead of me, again, very much like that I'm leaving for prison, feels like this is his choice. I'm going to walk a path ahead of me. Someone's laid out a path ahead of me, and I'm the one in control. I'm going to walk along it. Well, no, you were found guilty. You've been sent to jail. You're not in control, but you do have this whole need to make it look as if it's your choice and you are doing this rather than you have been told to do this. This passage here, the big phrase that jumps out for me is no excuse is acceptable, but around it, so many excuses. My irresponsible behaviour, my lack of self-control, I fully explained my honest intentions were on that terrible day, and nonetheless, but apart from all these things, I was found guilty. So this guy, I do believe, still thinks that his excuses are valid. So we're about halfway through that statement. What are your thoughts? Do you have any more idea on what happened? Some of the things there are pretty obvious. There's been a trial. 2 people have been killed. He seems to think he's got some excuses around it. And is he being honest about what's going on? That need for him to be in control is really interesting. So when we look at the rest of the statement in the second half of this episode, I am going to tell you the events that I think happened on the lead up to this statement. What are your thoughts? You can let me know in the comments. You can get in touch on social media because all those links are in the show description. If you want to get more from Never a Truer Word, you can become a member on YouTube or a subscriber on Spotify. That means you get episodes like this before anyone else. You also get bonus exclusive episodes too from Never a Truer Word. And if you can't do any of those things, the like button will bring more people this way. If you like it, don't do it if you don't like it. If you don't like it, don't press that like button. That wouldn't be you being true to yourself. But if you do like it, it's a small price to pay just to press that like button and help this get to more people. Let's go on with the statement then. He says, at this time, from the bottom of my heart, I would like to leave you all with this message. I am so very sorry for my actions, and I am ashamed at how pathetic and selfish I have been. So let's start with the beginning of that. At this time, from the bottom of my heart, I would like to leave you all with this message. So once again, we have this feeling of a broadcaster. It's not the message that's important. It's not the message that he says first. It's the fact that I would like to leave you with this message at this time. So again, this is kind of saying he's in image management mode here, isn't he? He's not so much the message that's important to him. It's the fact that I want you to know this is my message. I am sending a message. The fact I am giving a message is more important to me than the fact of what the words are in the message. And the words in the message, I'm not buying some of these. He says, I am so very sorry for my actions. So very sorry. Again, I need to persuade how sorry he is. He could say, I am sorry for my actions. That would be very straightforward and direct. But he has to turn that severity up. He has to turn it up to 11. I am so very sorry for my actions. Got downplaying again. He's very sorry for my actions, not for killing 2 people, but he's very sorry for his actions. So he's in image management mode. He's downplaying. He's softening the severity of what it is that he did. Killing 2 people, which is what he appears to be saying has happened, is reduced down to a very bland, generic phrase, my actions. He says, I am ashamed at how pathetic and selfish I have been. Now, I believe that part, I am ashamed, is very straightforward. Compare it. I am ashamed. Very short, very to the point. Compare that to I am so very sorry. In I am ashamed, there's nothing like so very. I am so very ashamed to show us just how ashamed he is. It's very straightforward. I am ashamed. So I believe he is ashamed, and I am believed he is ashamed, and I believe he feels pathetic and selfish. I notice he says, I am ashamed at how pathetic and selfish I had been in the past tense. So does he no longer consider that he is pathetic and selfish? I'm not so sure. I think this is him again downplaying what's going on. I do believe he feels pathetic and he feels selfish. He goes on, most importantly, and by the way, most importantly, I mean, that is him saying, most importantly, I am eternally devastated. Well, no, two people died. But most importantly to you is the fact that you are devastated. So again, this is him persuading us that, man, I really am sorry, because most important thing is I am devastated. That's not the most important thing about this story, mate. I got to tell you that. And he says, I am eternally devastated. So he's not just devastated, he's eternally devastated. Now, that's deception, because he cannot see the future. He cannot tell if he will always be devastated about what happened, but he is trying to persuade us and lie to us that I'm going to be sorry about this for the rest of my life. Then we have that typo. I'm devastated by the haunting reality I have forever hurt the love of my life. Now, I think that's supposed to be haunting reality, that I have forever hurt the love of my life. And again, if it is haunting, we've got that sort of poetic thing there. It's a haunting reality, you know, that he's trying to create images with his words rather than just tell us straightforwardly what happened. But interestingly, two big typos that I've seen, which was dead instead of dear, and then we have hunting instead of haunting, I think. And those dead and hunting, quite aggressive words. Why is it those are the ones that have come up there, dead and hunting, in his interesting typos, or are these deliberate or kind of Freudian slips that let us see a lot more about him? What I will say again, hunting rather than haunting, is this someone for whom English is not a first language? Anyway, the reality is that I have forever hurt the love of my life and fatally injured the man beside her. So this is another learning point about what happened. There's two people, innocent people, who have lost their lives. In his words, one of them was the love of my life, and one of them was the man beside her. So we've got some learning there about who the two people are. I have forever hurt the love of my life and fatally injured the man beside her. Well, what have we got there in that? Well, earlier he said two innocent people lost their lives, but what we have here is hurt. Hurt the love of my life. Well, it seems to be you killed her, or was it someone else that you killed and you only hurt the love of your life? Don't know at the moment. And fatally injured, again, not killed, but fatally injured the man beside her. Now, this could be talking about a car accident where for a split second there was a momentary lack of concentration, and that forever hurt the love of my life and fatally injured the man beside her. Do not know, but let's look at how he describes these people. So the love of my life, now that sounds... well, that sounds a little bit poetic again, a little bit persuasive. Was this person really the love of his life, or did he have some animosity towards her? And what he wants to do is persuade us that I didn't have any ill will towards this person. You know, there was no malice involved in what I did. This person was the love of my life. And then the other person was the man beside her. Now, I want to know, was this the man literally beside her, like a car accident, someone sitting beside her, or beside her in a bar? Or is this a bit more the man beside her, a new boyfriend or a new partner or something like that, someone she was dating going on there? Is that the two people involved, the so-called love of his life and this new partner, boyfriend or something like that? But it's the downplay that really gets me. Sorry for my actions. I've hurt the love of my life, fatally injured the man beside her. Downplaying the actions there. But if you notice, what he doesn't downplay is how he feels about himself. He doesn't downplay being ashamed and being pathetic and selfish. So he doesn't downplay those things that are kind of self-loathing things, ashamed, I am pathetic and selfish. He's very straightforward and direct with his wording there. But with his actions, he downplays them. I'm sorry for my actions. I hurt someone and fatally injured another person. The note carries on, neither of them deserved this outcome, and I am forever indebted to the victims' families. It is my hope that the life sentences I have received have at least begun the healing process for you all. Softening language again. Neither of them deserved this outcome. Neither of them deserved to die. Neither of them deserve to be killed, but you have softened it right down to this outcome. You're just blanding this up and making it so generic to make it seem almost innocuous. Not two people were killed. Well, it was just an outcome, like there is a score of a football match. So really working hard to image manage here what has happened. He does not want to say the bad things at all. Interesting use of the word indebted. Once again, I'm wondering, is this not a native English speaker? Because indebted to the victims' families means the victims' families have done something for you and you permanently owe them, rather than you will forever be sorry to the victims' families. You will never be able to make amends to the victims' families. No, you will be in their debt. So really weird use of the word. Again, think it might not be a native English speaker, but also it's just not being honest, straightforward and telling us what has gone on here. He says, it is my hope that the life sentences I received have at least begun the healing process for you all. And that is where he appears to be addressing the victims' families. He mentions them before and then says about the healing process for you all. And obviously, well, not obviously, the victims' families are the one with the healing process, but you all, is he addressing the victims' families there, or is this still to everyone, everyone consuming his words on his platform? And does he have that arrogance that he's done a bad thing and that must have shocked people and there must be a healing process for them as well? Very possible in those words. He finishes the statement with, and lastly, to my viewers and past supporters, thank you for giving me the courage to express myself through my art, my music, my comedy, and my impressions. Thank you for the years of laughter, the thrill of going viral, and all the cherished memories. I've got a resume statement here. He's reminding them of what a great guy that he is. There was my art, there was my music, my comedy, and my impressions. Thank you for the years of laughter and the thrill of going viral and all the cherished memories. This is, hey, look what a great guy I am. Look at how talented I am, all the things that I can do. We laughed together. Hey, you guys sent me viral. Cherished memories. Doesn't own the cherished memories, not all my cherished memories, just all the cherished memories. He also thanks those who showed him that for perseverance, anything is possible, but not persevering and not killing someone. I think it doesn't seem to be a lesson you have learned. It just seems to be a lesson that you have observed. It doesn't seem to be a way that you lived your life. And here, again, we've got this knowledge or this concept of him broadcasting to everyone, because he's talking to his viewers, to those who have believed in me, to those who have showed him things, and I'm sorry for letting you all down. Again, we've got this arrogance. He let his audience down. Softening again, not I'm sorry for killing this person, but I'm sorry for letting you all down. He says, I must pay my dues. And here we go again. We've got this sense that it's his choice. He's saying, I must pay my dues. He's downplaying it. I must be punished for my crimes would be really what he should be saying. That is what is happening. But it's, I must pay my dues. And then he says, goodbye for now. So once more, I think we've got this feeling of, this is all my choice. It's goodbye for now, but I'm going to be back. Almost like this is a statement saying, just remember the good times. Remember what a great guy I am. Remember all my content. Because once these 2 life sentences are over, I'm going to be back. Because it's not goodbye, I'm going to prison. It's goodbye for now, temporarily. And he signs off, sincerely, your friend, Ali A. So we've got the concept of friends again. Friends being connected to people. This going out to a whole load of people is obviously really important to him. So that's the statement from Ali A or Jin Gim. So that's the statement from Ali A. So what are your thoughts? Well, here are mine. I think he believes his excuses. Despite him saying it's not defendable, though the excuses don't matter, he still wants to trot them out. If they don't matter, you wouldn't say them. You'd just do a mea culpa and say, this is what I did and I shouldn't have done it. But no, he keeps talking about his excuses. And I think he really has an irritation that his excuses have not been believed or have not worked. I think he's got a really high opinion of himself, that he is loved by an audience and that they are hanging on his every word. He certainly has a high opinion of his work, but I don't think he's got a high opinion internally of himself. I think there's a lot of self-loathing there, which we'll come on to shortly. He likes to show he's in control. He wants to say, it's kind of my choice to go to prison. I've got to go and pay my dues. So I think he likes to show that he's in control, that no one can make him do anything. Everything he does is his choice. And I think image is very important to him. That statement, although he's been found guilty and he's going to jail for 2 life sentences, this is a last-ditch attempt to kind of go, no, remember, I'm a nice guy, lots of great content, I've gone viral, you all love me, even some of you think that I might have been justified here, but hey, I've got to go to jail, but goodbye for now. Image is very important to him. Remember, I think we've seen the 2 hymns there. I said he had 2 names. I think we've got someone who's aware that his work has been popular, that he has been liked, but there's a lot of self-loathing inside, which is why the image is really important, because he doesn't want people to see what is inside. He only wants people to see this image, this veneer that he has put up. Okay, now the risky part. So these are the events that I think led up to this statement. First of all, I will say, I think English is not the guy's first language. I think I got that there from the statement. I think he killed his ex and his ex's new partner. Somehow, he killed his ex and his ex's new partner. He's defended himself on his platform, on his social media or channels, and he also defended himself in some way at the trial. Didn't work though. I think he received a lot of backlash for trying to justify what he did on his platform. And I think that did not go down well with him. I think he expected to be able to go onto his platform and defend some really bad, serious actions, and people went, nah, it doesn't wash with me, and I think that surprised him. Don't think he enjoyed the backlash at all. However this killing happened, I think he acted with anger. I think the self-loathing will have brought that anger out in him, and potentially if this is an ex, then the being left by someone, the fact the relationship is no longer interested, no longer going on, I think that may have fueled the anger as well. And if the ex is with a new partner, that will have made someone with self-loathing even angrier. And no matter what happened, there was a lack of self-control there. So maybe something frenzied, maybe just something impulsive, but a lack of self-control. But I think he acted with intent. I don't think it was like a single solitary moment, half-second bad decision of madness. I think there was a lot of intent there. The anger was building up inside him. And a couple here where I put question marks. I'm not so certain around this, but hey, if I was investigating this, these are some of the things that I'd be looking at. Was there a stabbing? Why do I think that? He mentions heart twice. I think he said it was a heartbreaking tragedy and he talked from the bottom of his heart. So was there a stabbing involved in this? And was he stalking his ex, or was he obsessive about his ex prior to this killing? Well, I've said what I have to say. Next time, we will find out if I'm right. That episode should be available right now. I'm going to get on Google. I'm going to look at the story and see how close or how far away I was from what happened in events. Could be that was all a comedy stunt or something. I did say he's a comedian and it could be a comedy stunt. However, you will be able to find that episode wherever you've got this one. That episode should be available now. So what are your thoughts? Please be kind if I've been well off beam, but do let me know in the comments or get in touch on social media as well. If you want to share this with anyone, that would be really appreciated as well. I know a lot of sharing goes on that I don't really know about, but if you do share these episodes, thank you so much. If you want to get some more from Never a Truer Word, you can become a subscriber on Spotify or a channel member on YouTube. You'll get episodes like this before anyone else and exclusive bonus content too. And if you can't do any of those and you enjoyed this episode, the like button will help this get to more people. And for every like, I am really, really grateful. So thank you for that. Neveratruerword.com is the website. There you will find more videos or podcasts analysing the words that people in the news choose to use. That wasn't easy to say. You can also sign up for the monthly newsletter and get a couple of books as well if you want to learn how to uncode what it is that our people are saying. And we'll see you soon for something new from Never a Truer Word.